Welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name is Fernando. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey that we call life. So let's make this journey our journey. And I wanted to make a different video for my first video, but in light of everything that's happening in this nation, I wanted to share my thought. 5 to 6 years ago, my mind started to change, to realign itself with certain issues that was happening in this country, in this nation. I began listening to certain artists, certain Christian hip-hop artists that began to show me certain things that I wasn't seeing before. Artists like Propaganda, Sho Baraka, and on one of his songs called Jim Crow, he said this: "Come on, son, why you always ruin the mood? Race talks happen every time you enter the room. There's ignorance in the masses. Too many people think racism is past tense." And I find myself in that quote. I find myself that I was entering different rooms, different spectrums, different tables, and I was still seeing that racism was still alive and kicking. And because of that, I began to change my mind. And now we land today. The death of George Floyd. And the death of George Floyd has caused protesting. And we have two different sides of this spectrum. We have people that are for the protesting and the rioting, and then we have people that are against the protesting and the rioting. And now I can clearly say that both sides have their points. Some sides say, you know what, they taught us how to do these things, because one thing that we can look at clearly was Black Wall Street. They began these type of riots. But then on the other side, we have people saying what we are doing is destroying our own neighborhoods with the rioting. We are the one that's gonna have to clean this up anyway, so why do it? Now, I'm not gonna choose a side. There is no side for me to choose, because both of them have their points. But one thing that I'm seeing is that they're coming together. There's a united front, and what I'm seeing is it's not only black people, but white people, people of color, Asian people, Hispanic people. They're coming together against this injustice that was done towards George Floyd. But one of the things that I'm seeing, and I understand that the masses are angry and they want answers. They want something to happen at this moment, and we understand that at this moment the officer got fired, and now he's being arraigned at this moment, and people want justice for that. People want this man to go to jail. One thing that I really want to focus on is the fact that after all this settles, after the riot stops, after the looting stops, after the protesting stop, what then? Are things going to change? We can hope for. We can hope for things to change. But the most important thing that has to come out of this is our mind going to change? Our mindset have to begin to change so we can begin to exact change. If you want to see change happening, let's level up our minds. Let's level up the way that we are thinking. I live in New York City. I live in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn my entire life. And you know what? I have received those racism. I have received those looks. I have received those questions. But one of the things that I made sure was to equip myself with the rights that I have in this country. The beautiful thing about this country is that, yes, we have rights. And it's time for us to learn these rights. And it's time for us to use these rights, because they use them. So how about if our communities begin to level up our mind, level up our psyche, level up our thought, and begin using these rights so we can combat this racism that is still so prevalent in this nation? My brother got into an altercation a couple of months ago with police officers. And I let him know, you know what they did was wrong, because they pulled him out of his vehicle for no apparent reason. Now we all know that for you to be able to do that is that, number one, you need a search warrant, because your vehicle is your private property. But at the same time, I told my brother, you know what? That could have also been avoided if we would have known this. And I didn't say it to my brother as a way to come down on him. I told him because I love him. And my brother knows how I am. And I let him know that this could have been avoided if we would have known this. And he said, you know what, brother, thank you. And then I sent him a link and I sent him more information, because there are ways that we can combat this. Yes, we're gonna riot. Yes, we're gonna loot. Yes, we're gonna protest. Yes, that's going to happen in this commotion, in this chaos. It's gonna happen. But after the dust settles, after everything is done, after this police officer, when he is on the court, and if he is found guilty and he goes to jail, what then? What's gonna happen? Only way that we can begin to exact this change is by changing our mindset. Let us level up our mindset. I leveled up my brother. So now every time that cop or police officer pulls him over, now he knows exactly what to do. And not to be confrontational, no. I'm not saying this to be confrontational with the police officers. But, so let's begin to level up our minds. And I'm sure in my heart of hearts that as soon as we begin to do this, as soon as we begin to level up our minds, things will start to change. Let's exact this change. Be blessed, be encouraged. And if the sky is the limit, let's shoot for the stars.